Hey everyone! Imagine waking up every day knowing that the choices you make, no matter how small, are shaping the life you dream of. Transformation doesn't come from one massive step, it comes from the consistent daily habits that silently build strength, resilience, and purpose. The life you want isn't waiting in the distant future, it is hidden inside what you choose to repeat today. Start by embracing gratitude. Every morning, instead of focusing on what's missing, turn your attention to what you already have. Gratitude shifts your perspective, softens your heart, and gives you strength to face the toughest days with courage. When you begin your day by saying, I am thankful, your heart opens and suddenly challenges become opportunities to grow. The second habit is discipline. Dreams remain dreams unless you fuel them with discipline. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing progress over comfort, persistence over excuses. Every small act of discipline compounds into extraordinary results. When you master discipline, you realize you don't need motivation every day. Your commitment carries you forward. The third habit is self-reflection. In the noise of the world, people often forget to listen to themselves. Take a few quiet minutes daily to reflect. What did you learn today? What brought you joy? What needs to change? Reflection isn't about dwelling on mistakes, it's about learning from them, forgiving yourself, and moving forward wiser. Growth begins when you pause to look within. The fourth habit is kindness. Never underestimate the power of a kind word, a helping hand, or a smile. The world doesn't need more critics. It needs more healers, more encouragers. When you choose kindness, you not only uplift others, you heal parts of yourself. The love and compassion you give out always come back in ways you can't imagine. And the final habit is courage. Every day, life will present you with moments where fear whispers, don't try. But courage is not the absence of fear, it's choosing to act despite it. Whether it's pursuing a dream, speaking your truth, or standing up for what's right, courage transforms your life from ordinary to extraordinary. When these 5 habits, gratitude, discipline, self-reflection, kindness, and courage, become part of your daily rhythm, transformation stops being an idea and starts being your reality. The most powerful change doesn't come from waiting for a miracle. It comes from becoming the miracle through your choices. Your life can shift dramatically, not because someone else saved you, but because you chose to rise again and again every single day. Gratitude is more than just a polite thank you whispered in passing. It is a powerful state of being that can completely shift the way life unfolds before your eyes. It is the lens through which the world transforms from scarcity to abundance, from complaint to contentment, from despair to hope. When you live with gratitude, you are not pretending that life is perfect or that hardships don't exist. You are choosing, consciously, to acknowledge the blessings that are already present, no matter how small they may seem. This daily practice does not erase struggles, but it strengthens the spirit to face them with grace. Each morning begins as a blank canvas, and the way you start sets the tone for the rest of the day. Imagine waking up and instantly focusing on what's missing, what you don't have, what hasn't worked out, what you wish were different. That thought becomes a seed, and it grows throughout the day, shaping how you feel, how you act, and even how others respond to you. But imagine instead beginning the day by saying, I am thankful for this breath, for this sunrise, for another chance. Suddenly the day feels lighter, your shoulders less heavy, and even problems seem more manageable. Gratitude is the choice to see what is right before obsessing over what is wrong. It is often said that energy flows where attention goes. When your attention is fixed on what is lacking, you amplify emptiness. But when you shift your focus to what you already hold, the heart expands and life begins to multiply those blessings. A grateful heart notices the warmth of sunlight streaming through the window, the comfort of clean water, the laughter of a friend, the simple fact that you are alive. These are not small things. They are miracles that millions pray for. Gratitude awakens you to the richness of the present moment and prevents life from slipping by unnoticed. Gratitude is also a teacher of resilience. In moments of loss or heartbreak, it is easy to drown in sorrow. But gratitude whispers reminders of what remains: strength, lessons, relationships, inner courage. It does not deny pain, it gives you an anchor to hold on to when the storms rage. The more you practice gratitude, the stronger your capacity to endure becomes, because you learn that even in darkness, light still flickers. Even in endings, beginnings wait quietly. Gratitude transforms wounds into wisdom and pain into purpose. Living with gratitude also changes relationships. When you appreciate the people around you, when you take a moment to truly acknowledge their efforts, their presence, their love, you strengthen bonds that last. People bloom under appreciation, they shrink under constant criticism. A single genuine "I value you" can light up someone's spirit in ways unimaginable. Gratitude, when expressed, becomes a gift not just for yourself, but for others. It lifts, heals, and inspires. Science too echoes the power of gratitude. Studies show that grateful people experience less stress, sleep better, and have healthier minds and bodies. The act of keeping a gratitude journal, writing down even 3 things you are thankful for each day, rewires the brain to look for the positive. Slowly, negativity loses its grip. Gratitude trains the mind to become a seeker of beauty rather than a collector of complaints. It creates a natural shift from a mindset of survival to one of fulfillment. It is important to realize that gratitude is not reserved for big achievements or rare miracles. Waiting for life's perfect moments to be thankful is a trap that keeps you blind to everyday blessings. Gratitude shines brightest in the ordinary. The warm cup of tea in your hands, the sound of rain against your window, the stranger who smiled as you passed by, the fact that you woke up today when many did not. Life itself is fragile and fleeting, yet gratitude teaches us to live fully in the now, instead of postponing joy for someday. Practicing gratitude daily is like watering the roots of your soul. The more you nourish it, the deeper your inner peace grows. And as that peace expands, you find yourself becoming more patient, more understanding, more open to life's flow. The world outside may still be chaotic, but inside you, there is a quiet strength. Gratitude builds that sanctuary. It is not about ignoring problems or pretending life is flawless. It is about acknowledging that even in imperfection, there is so much to treasure. When you live in gratitude, transformation becomes inevitable. Your perspective shifts, your energy lifts, and your heart finds reasons to celebrate the simplest moments. Life stops being a constant chase for what's missing and instead becomes a journey of cherishing what already exists. Gratitude is not just a habit, it is a way of living that turns every ordinary day into something extraordinary. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. Without it, even the most brilliant vision remains only an idea, an unfulfilled promise that never finds life. Discipline is often misunderstood as something harsh or restrictive, but in truth, it is one of the most liberating forces in existence. It is the steady hand that guides you when motivation fades, the quiet strength that keeps you moving when distractions tempt you to stop. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like the weather, but discipline is the steady rhythm that ensures progress regardless of moods, circumstances, or fleeting feelings. Think of the most successful people in history, the artists, leaders, athletes, and innovators who left behind legacies that continue to inspire. None of them relied solely on bursts of inspiration. They built their lives on habits, routines, and consistent effort. They understood that greatness is not built in a single moment of passion, in countless small acts of commitment, repeated day after day, often unseen by the world. Discipline is choosing to stay on the path, even when no one is clapping, even when results are not yet visible, even when the process feels exhausting. Discipline requires self-control, and self-control begins with awareness. It means recognizing that your future self is shaped by the decisions you make today. Every choice adds up, creating either a stronger, wiser version of you or a weaker, more frustrated one. Discipline is that inner voice that says, "I don't feel like doing this, but I know I must," and then following through. It is the art of choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure, the commitment to progress instead of the comfort of excuses. What makes discipline so transformative? is that it builds trust within yourself. Each time you set a goal and follow through, you prove to yourself that you are reliable. That trust is powerful because many people fail not due to lack of talent, but because they don't believe in their own consistency. When you become disciplined, you no longer depend on the fragile bursts of motivation. You depend on yourself. That is real strength because no matter what life throws at you, you know you will show up. Discipline also protects you from the chaos of procrastination. Procrastination whispers that tomorrow is better, that you have time, that it's okay to delay, but tomorrow is never guaranteed, and wasted days turn into wasted years. Discipline silences procrastination by creating structure. A structured day is not a prison, it is a pathway. Within that pathway, there is freedom because you no longer waste time deciding what to do or battling with indecision. You already know your priorities and you follow them with consistency. Another gift of discipline is the power it has over your mind. The disciplined person learns to master emotions instead of being controlled by them. On days of frustration, discipline says, keep moving. On days of fatigue, discipline whispers, take one more step. This mastery is not about ignoring emotions, but about refusing to let them dictate the course of your life. Feelings are temporary, but the results of discipline last forever. Every great achievement stands as proof that someone once refused to give up when it was easier to quit. Discipline is also the foundation of freedom. At first, it seems like the opposite, following routines, sticking to habits, keeping commitments. But true freedom comes from having control over your actions and direction. The undisciplined person may feel free, doing whatever feels good in the moment, but eventually they become a prisoner of consequences, unfulfilled goals, broken promises, wasted potential. The disciplined person, on the other hand, sacrifices a little comfort now to gain a future full of opportunities and peace. That is real freedom. The freedom to live life on your own terms because you had the strength to build it. In practicing discipline, small steps matter most. You don't climb a mountain in one leap, you take it one step at a time. Commit to waking up earlier, to reading daily, to exercising, to finishing tasks before moving on to new ones. Each act, however small, reinforces the identity of someone who follows through. Over time, these steps compound, and suddenly the mountain that seemed impossible is behind you. Discipline does not demand perfection. It demands persistence. It asks you not to give up simply because the road feels hard. When discipline becomes a part of your daily rhythm, transformation unfolds naturally. You discover strength you didn't know you had, patience you never thought possible, and results that once seemed out of reach. Discipline doesn't just change what you achieve, it changes who you are. You become someone dependable, someone focused, someone capable of turning vision into reality. The beauty of discipline lies in its quiet power. It doesn't boast, it doesn't rush, it doesn't seek attention. It works steadily in the background, reshaping your habits, sharpening your character, and preparing you for greatness. And when the results appear, the world calls it success, but you will know it was discipline all along that carried you there. Self-reflection is one of the most powerful yet underestimated practices that can completely transform the way a person experiences life. In the busyness of daily routines, people often move from one task to another, constantly reacting to situations without ever pausing to look within. But without reflection, life can easily become a blur. Days pass, experiences repeat, and lessons slip away unnoticed. Self-reflection is the art of slowing down, of asking yourself the right questions, and of understanding your own journey with clarity. It is not about judging yourself harshly or living in regret. It is about observing your thoughts, actions, and choices so you can grow wiser and stronger with every passing day. Reflection begins with awareness. It is taking a moment to ask, what did I do today that made me proud? What could I have done differently? What am I holding on to that no longer serves me? These questions don't weaken you. They empower you. The act of pausing allows you to step out of autopilot mode and truly see where you are going. Without reflection, you may keep walking the same path, repeating the same mistakes and wondering why nothing changes. But with reflection, you see patterns clearly, and once you see them, you have the power to break free. Self-reflection is also a form of honesty with yourself. Many people live their lives blaming circumstances, situations, or other people for their struggles. Reflection shifts that focus inward. It teaches you that while you cannot control everything around you, you can control how you respond. This doesn't mean carrying guilt or shame. It means taking responsibility for your actions and choices. And responsibility is liberating because it reminds you that you hold the power to change. You are not a victim of life. You are an active participant in shaping it. Taking time for reflection nurtures growth. Imagine going through a difficult experience, failure in a project, a broken relationship, or a missed opportunity. If you simply move on without reflecting, that pain remains just pain. But if you pause to ask, what did this teach me? How can I grow from this? The same pain turns into wisdom. Reflection transforms setbacks into stepping stones, turning losses into lessons. Every hardship you face contains a hidden gift, but you only find it when you allow yourself to reflect. Reflection also deepens gratitude. By looking back on your day, your week, or even your year, you begin to notice the small victories you may have overlooked in the rush of living. Perhaps it was the moment you encouraged a friend, the courage you showed in speaking up, or the patience you found in a difficult situation. Reflection magnifies these moments, reminding you that progress is being made, even if it doesn't always feel obvious. Gratitude grows when you recognize how far you've already come. Another powerful aspect of self-reflection is clarity. The world is noisy, filled with distractions, opinions, and pressures that can easily drown out your inner voice. Reflection quiets that noise and allows you to listen to yourself. What do you truly want? What values guide your decisions? What goals are worth pursuing? And which ones are only there to please others? Without reflection, it is easy to chase things that do not align with your purpose. With reflection, you gain clarity on what matters most, and clarity gives your life direction. Reflection also teaches self-compassion. Sometimes when people look within, they are quick to criticize themselves. But true reflection is not about being your harshest judge. It is about becoming your greatest teacher. It allows you to see your flaws without condemning yourself for them, to acknowledge your mistakes without letting them define you. Self-reflection says, I am still learning, I am still growing. I am not perfect, but I am trying. This gentle honesty creates space for healing and self-love. The practice of self-reflection doesn't require hours of silence or complex rituals. It can be as simple as writing in a journal for 10 minutes, taking a quiet walk, or sitting in stillness before bed and reviewing your day. What matters is consistency. Over time, these small moments of looking within build a stronger, clearer, and more resilient version of yourself. When reflection becomes a habit, it changes the way you live. Instead of being carried by the current of life, you begin to navigate it with intention. You stop repeating the same mistakes because you've learned from them. You grow more patient because you understand yourself better. You become more compassionate toward others because reflection has taught you humility. Life no longer feels like something happening to you. It becomes something you are actively shaping. Self-reflection is not about dwelling in the past. It is about using the past as a guide for the present and future. Every experience, whether joyful or painful, has something to teach. The question is whether you are willing to pause long enough to listen. The answers you seek are often not outside. They are already within you, waiting for the quiet of reflection to bring them forward. Kindness is one of the simplest yet most transformative forces in the world. It does not require wealth, status, or extraordinary talent. It requires only a willing heart. Yet its impact reaches further than any material possession ever could. A kind word, a small act of generosity, or even a genuine smile has the power to shift someone's entire day, sometimes even their entire life. In a world that often feels heavy with judgment, competition, and indifference, kindness shines like a beacon of hope. It is not weakness, as some mistakenly believe. It is one of the strongest choices a person can make, because it takes courage to respond with love in a world that often responds with anger. When you practice kindness, you change not only others, but also yourself. Science has shown that acts of kindness release hormones in the brain that reduce stress, increase happiness, and even improve physical health. But beyond science, kindness nourishes the soul. It connects you to something larger than yourself. It makes life richer, softer, and more meaningful. Each act of kindness, no matter how small, creates a ripple effect. Someone who experiences kindness is more likely to pass it on. One gentle word today can echo into 100 unseen moments of goodness tomorrow. Kindness also builds relationships that last. Human beings crave connection, and genuine kindness is the bridge that creates it. When you appreciate others, when you acknowledge their efforts, when you treat them with respect and warmth, you form bonds that are deeper than words. Relationships built on power or fear eventually break, but relationships built on kindness endure. They create safe spaces where people can grow, heal, and thrive. But kindness is not only about how we treat others, it is also about how we treat ourselves. Many people extend compassion outward yet speak to themselves with harshness. They forgive others but hold on to guilt for their own mistakes. True kindness begins within. When you are patient with your own growth, when you forgive yourself for your flaws, when you allow yourself to rest instead of constantly demanding perfection, you cultivate a heart strong enough to be kind to the world. Without self-kindness, your well runs dry. With it, you can pour into others without losing yourself. Kindness does not require grand gestures. It is found in the smallest acts: the friend who listens without interrupting, the stranger who holds the door, the colleague who offers encouragement, the parent who reassures instead of criticizes. These moments may seem ordinary, but to someone else they can mean everything. You never truly know the battles people are fighting. A small act of kindness might be the very thing that helps them keep going. Choosing kindness is not always easy. Sometimes it means responding gently when others are rude, or offering understanding when you feel like judging. It means rising above negativity instead of being consumed by it. This is why kindness is strength. It requires self-control, empathy, and courage. It is not passive, it is active. It takes conscious effort to stay soft in a world that often encourages hardness. Yet every time you choose kindness, you make the world a little lighter, not only for others, but also for yourself. Kindness also transforms challenges into opportunities. When conflict arises, most people react with defensiveness or anger, which only deepens the divide. But kindness has the power to disarm tension. A gentle tone can calm anger. A willingness to listen can heal misunderstanding. A forgiving heart can rebuild trust. This does not mean you let others walk over you. It means you choose a response that seeks peace instead of escalation. That choice, though difficult, can shift outcomes in ways force never could. One of the greatest truths about kindness is that it always returns. Not always immediately, and not always from the person you gave it to, but in some form, kindness finds its way back. Life has a way of multiplying what you give. When you plant kindness, you eventually harvest love, respect, and joy. And even if no one notices your act, it still changes you. Each time you choose kindness, you become a little gentler, a little wiser, a little more at peace with yourself. Imagine a world where kindness became the default, where people cared enough to look beyond themselves, where compassion outweighed criticism, where encouragement replaced envy. That world begins with one person, one choice, one act. You may not be able to change the entire world, but you can change the world of the person standing in front of you. Kindness is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It is about creating small, meaningful moments every day. It is about seeing the humanity in others and honoring it. It is about choosing to leave people better than you found them. And in doing so, you transform not just their lives, but also your own. For in the end, it is not the wealth you accumulate or the achievements you collect that people will remember. It is the kindness you showed and the love you shared that will echo long after you are gone. Courage is the quiet force that turns ordinary lives into extraordinary journeys. It is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward in spite of it. Everyone feels fear. Fear of failure, rejection, loss, or the unknown. But what separates those who create meaningful change from those who remain stuck is the ability to act with courage, even when the outcome is uncertain. Courage is not reserved for warriors on battlefields or leaders in history books. It lives in the everyday choices we make. To speak the truth when silence feels safer. To follow a dream when doubt surrounds us. to stand tall when the world expects us to bow. Fear often disguises itself as protection, whispering that staying comfortable is the safest option. But comfort, when clung to for too long, becomes a cage. Courage is the key that unlocks that cage and sets you free to explore life fully. Every great achievement, every innovation, every breakthrough began with a moment of courage, a moment when someone chose to take a step forward, despite trembling hands and a racing heart. Without courage, dreams remain only ideas, and potential stays hidden in the shadows. With courage, possibilities expand, and life opens up in ways you never imagined. Courage is deeply personal. For some, it may mean starting over after failure. For others, it might mean leaving behind a toxic relationship or taking the first step toward healing. Sometimes courage is simply getting out of bed on a hard day and choosing to keep going. These acts may seem small to the outside world, but they are victories of the spirit. Courage is not measured by the size of the action, but by the size of the fear that is overcome. Every act of courage, no matter how small, builds strength for the next one. Living with courage also means being true to yourself. The world is full of expectations. Family, society, culture, all telling you who you should be. It takes courage to listen to your own voice above the noise, to honor your values, and to pursue what aligns with your soul. This kind of courage often comes with criticism or misunderstanding because not everyone will support your choices. But authenticity requires bravery. When you live courageously, you no longer live for approval, you live for truth. And in doing so, you inspire others to do the same. Courage is also essential in failure. Most people avoid failure at all costs, thinking it defines them. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Courage allows you to see failure not as an ending, but as a lesson. It pushes you to rise after falling, to adjust your path, and to keep moving. Each setback faced with courage becomes a stepping stone toward growth. The most resilient people are not those who never fail. They are those who never let failure stop them. Relationships, too, are strengthened by courage. It takes courage to love fully, to open your heart when it has been hurt before. It takes courage to forgive when holding a grudge feels easier. It takes courage to have difficult conversations, to admit mistakes, and to show vulnerability. These acts of bravery create deeper connections because they come from a place of honesty and strength. Without courage, relationships remain shallow. With courage, they grow roots that endure storms. Courage is also about standing up for others. Injustice thrives when good people remain silent. It takes bravery to defend someone being mistreated, to speak up against what is wrong, to use your voice when it might cost you something. This form of courage not only protects others, it shapes the world into a fairer, kinder place. History has always been moved forward by those who dared to stand when everyone else sat in silence. The beauty of courage is that it multiplies. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. At first, your steps may feel shaky, but each time you face a fear, you grow more confident. Over time, courage becomes a natural part of who you are. You stop waiting for the perfect moment because you realize that courage creates the moment. You stop needing guarantees because courage teaches you that uncertainty is where growth lives. Courage transforms life because it pushes you beyond survival into truly living. Without it, life remains small, safe, and predictable. With it, life becomes an adventure. Full of risks, yes, but also full of possibilities, discoveries, and triumphs. Courage teaches you that fear may always be present, but it does not have to be in control. The choice is always yours, to let fear dictate your story, or to let courage ride it. Every great change begins with one courageous decision. It may not be easy and it may not be comfortable, but it will always be worth it. Because at the end of your life, you will not remember the times you played it safe. You will remember the times you dared, the times you stood up, the times you chose to rise even when you were trembling. That is the gift of courage. It does not promise a life without challenges, but it ensures a life without regrets.